Stalky Co. is a novel by Rudyard Kipling about adolescent boys at a British boarding school. It was first published in 1899. Reflecting its origins, the novel is episodic in nature, with self-contained chapters. It is set at an unnamed school referred to as the College of the Co., which is based on the United Services College in Devon, which Kipling attended. The character Beetle, one of the main trio, is partly based on Kipling himself, while the charismatic character Stalky is based on Lionel Dunsterville. Episodic is based on George Charles Beresford, and Mr. King is based on William Carcrofts. The stories have elements of revenge, the macabre, bullying and violence, and hints about sex, making them far from childish or idealized. For example, Beetle pokes fun at an earlier, more earnest, boy's book, Eric, or Little by Little, thus flaunting his more worldly outlook. There is also some information about Stalky in later life. Contents. The novel is a fix-up compilation of 8 previously published stories, with a prefatory untitled poem beginning, "Let us now praise famous men." Different sources give conflicting information. Unfortunately, it is unlikely, for example, that Slaves of the Lamp Part 2 preceded Part 1. At times both citations are given. In Ambush, Slaves of the Lamp Part 1. An unsavory interlude. The Impressionists, The Moral Reformers, A Little Prep, The Flag of the Country, The Last Term, Slaves of the Lamp Part 2, Rare and Missing Materials. A Stalky story manuscript, believed to have been written in 1897, was found in an English school library in 2004. The missing chapter of Rudyard Kipling's celebrated book Stalky Co. has been found in a school library. The manuscript, believed to have been written in 1897, 2 years before the book's publication, was found in the archives of Haileybury, a private school in Hertfordshire, by Jeremy Lewins, a former Kipling Fellow at Magdalen College, Cambridge. The work tells the entirely new story of 3 schoolboys who taunt an elderly major who cheats at golf near Appledore in North Devon. Dr. Lewins said, Kipling intended it to be the first chapter of Stalky Co. The manuscript was given by the Kipling estate to the United Services College after he died in January 1936. It was acquired by Haileybury School in 1962 when it merged with the United Services College and lodged in the archives, where it remained unnoticed. Kipling expert Flora Virginia Milner Livingston of Houghton Library, Harvard College Library, wrote in a 1972 Kipling bibliography, Number 1 of the Stalky Co. series in the Windsor magazine was entitled Stalky and appeared in the December 1898 number of that magazine. It was not included in the book, nor has it ever been reproduced. However, the Kipling Society states that it was indeed collected in 1923 as one of the Land and Sea Tales for Scouts and Guides. Characters. Students. Stalky. He knows that he is destined for Sandhurst, so he does not care about many academic subjects. Stalky later turns out to be brilliant in battle. Reginald Beetle. William Turkey Imtalk. School administrators. The Dean, Mr. Bates. Mr. Proud, a housemaster in charge of Stalky's group. Mr. King, a housemaster who sometimes bedevils the boys, generally held to be based on W.C. Crofts. Mr. Halltop, a housemaster, president of the Natural History Society, a naive young man. He rather likes Stalky and his friends. Foxy, a subtle red-haired school sergeant. Further stories. More tales about Stalky and Amp Co. appeared in magazines and later in collections. Regulars in a diversity of creatures. Stalky in Land and Sea Tales for Scouts and Guides, The United Idolaters, and The Propagation of Knowledge in Debits and Credits, and The Satisfaction of a Gentleman in the Complete Stalky and Amp Co. Kipling describes Stalky as the first of the Stalky and Amp Co. tales to be written. It was originally published in the Windsor Magazine and McClaw's Magazine in 1898. Posthumously published manuscript. Kipling wrote an additional story about Stalky and Co., Scylla and Charybdis, but it was never published in his lifetime. It depicts Stalky and his friends catching a colonel cheating at golf. The story existed only in manuscript form, attached to the end of the original manuscript copy of Stalky and Amp Co. On his death in 1936, Kipling bequeathed the manuscript of Stalky and Amp Co. to the Imperial Service Trust, the body that operated his old school, the Imperial Service College. It passed into the possession of Haileybury and Imperial Service College when that school absorbed the Imperial Service College in 1942. The manuscript was displayed at Haileybury in 1962, in an exhibition to mark the school's centenary, and in 1989 it was moved permanently to the college archives after spending many years in a bank vault. While the story Scylla and Charybdis was known to exist, it had never been transcribed or widely discussed. The school eventually decided to publish it in association with the Kipling Society in 2004. Television adaptation. The tales were adapted for television by the BBC in 1982. The six-part series starred Robert Addy as Stalky and David Parfitt as Beetle. It was directed by Rodney Bennett and produced by Barry Letts. Texts of Stalky and Amp Co. Project Gutenberg eText, Stalky.com eText, Words eText, March 2004 issue of the Kipling Journal, containing the Scylla and Charybdis story from the Kipling Journal back number archive. Stalky and Amp Co. Public domain audio book at LibriVox.